Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Donegan, and Happy New Year. Welcome to all of you. We are going to bring in our win-win-women audience now. You can say that 3 times fast. Win-win-women audience right now. It's so good to be back with all of you. Thanks so much for
Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Donegan, and Happy New Year.
Got a little feedback.
We are going to bring in our win-win-women audience now.
Thanks. See if we can try that.
Women audience right now. It's so good to be back with.
Okay. There we go. I apologize. A little glitch in the new year. So today's topic is called New Year, New You, Restoring Your Health. Now, don't turn this off if you feel like you're super healthy already. Restore also means that we're going inside, we're going to be doing some cellular work. And I think each of us, if we're really honest with ourselves, can improve on our health or can take a look at what we've been doing and make sure that each of the steps we're taking are putting us on the most optimal path for healthy success. So, the foundation of our New Year, New You routine for 2024 has to be a combination of fiber and probiotics. I think in the past, a lot of times, what we would hear about was you really need to exercise in the new year, you need to go on a diet, or you need to sleep better. And all of these things are really, really important. But you can't sleep without your microbiome being super healthy. And you can't lose weight without your microbiome being super healthy. And you can't improve your skin. You can't regrow your hair. You can't rebuild your immune system. So everything that we do depends on a healthy microbiome. And if you've been watching the show, that you know that that's what we've been talking about for many, many, many months. And that is the key to radical age reversal. This is something else that our show is actually focused on. How do you actually maintain the vitality of youth as you age chronologically? We don't have to actually break down and become old as we age. We can actually improve our vitality and our health as we age chronologically. So let's not focus on the numbers. We're going to focus on the quality of our life. So, again, I want you to think now, brand new concept. The brand new concept is the microbiome is the key to my entire well being. It is 90% of who I am. I am only 10% human. And if you haven't had a chance to read that book, 10% Human, then you may be a little confused about what I'm talking about. But our cells, right? Our makeup, who we are, is 10% human cells and 90% microbiome cells. That is this entire invisible or microscopic, right? So we can't see it with the naked eye. This teeny tiny environment that coexists with us on our bodies, in our environment that is attached to us that creates our health. And that's called our microbiome. And it is 90% of who we are, of those cells that we are. And that's a little bit of a hard concept to wrap your head around. But if you can just accept it for what it is right now and understand that your microbiome is a living organism and it needs to be fed. Much of what we feed ourselves doesn't feed our microbiome. So we have to get into the habit, think of it as a pet, that we have to actually feed our microbiome. So I wanted to clarify a few things because doTERRA is a new product called Restore. And within Restore is about 24 different types of really good bacteria. Now, you want to take this because this is going to go into your body and it's going to restore your microbiome, not just in your gut, but on your skin, in your eyes, in your mouth, in your vaginal canal, in your ears, in your lungs, everywhere your microbiome exists. All right, so this deals with your entire microbiome. We have another product called PB Assist Plus that focuses just on gut health. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about this because this is a necessity for everyone. Why? Because we know, doing lots and lots of research, that the American population has a microbiome that's weakened by a number of factors. Chemicals in the environment, especially um, glycophosphates, which are sprayed on so many of the plants that we eat, especially the grains that we eat, the chemically changed foods like enriched wheat as opposed to just regular wheat. Be really careful with that. Try to remove that from your diet. It's everywhere. I apologize. It's really, really hard to get rid of, but do the best that you can. Vaccines contribute to the damage of the microbiome. Antibiotics contribute to the damage of the microbiome. If you were born a C-section and you were not breastfed, you were already had a weakened microbiome because you didn't get some of the bacteria that would have been passed on through those two processes. So there's a lot of reasons why we might be deficient in our microbiome. So this is going to help restore the microbiome. But there's a really important part of using this product that I want to make sure that everybody understands. And that is that this product needs a food to go along with it. Now, it comes with, I'm going to say, like a starter plan. It comes with a little meal, but it doesn't come with enough just because there isn't enough space to put the prebiotic fiber needed to really proliferate that bacteria. So let's first take a look at Restore and see how it's made. It's a dual chamber capsule, and you will see that there's two colors or two parts. You have sort of a clear liquid, and you have the other part that's green. Now, one part is called prebiotic fiber. That's the food that the probiotic needs. The other part is the probiotic. Now, you're going to take this before you eat because you need to give this something to eat. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. You are going to take this before you eat because you need to give this something to eat. Now, do you have to take it far away from food? No, in fact, you should take it right before you eat. So think of this as your appetizer. This is the first thing that you're going to eat, right? It's not going to be the bread that comes out in a basket at the beginning of the meal if you're in a restaurant. It's not going to be the chips and salsa that comes out at the beginning of a meal if you're in a restaurant. It's not going to be that fast, snacky food that you eat when you're making your meal, or certainly, if you're about to cook dinner, right? And you see in the movies that they grab that glass of wine and then they start cooking. That's not the right order. The first thing that goes into your mouth is Restore. The very, very first thing. Okay. Now, once you have taken the Restore, you need to feed it. So the Restore is going to be fed by a fiber. Okay. Restore is fed by a fiber. So where do we get that fiber? Lots of different places. Now I'm going to give you two really easy foods that you can eat, and that will provide fiber, the best possible fiber. And then when I hear you through the internet say, "Ooh, I don't want to do that," I'm going to give you a palatable other option that doTERRA has. So first one is a very green banana, like super, super green. It should be really hard to crack open the top and almost impossible to peel, like the kind that you need to peel with a knife. I'm going to take a piece of that banana, cut it up, and eat it right after the Restore. Remember, Restore goes first, and then you're going to take a piece of a green banana. The second thing that you can take is actually a piece of a raw white potato. I know there's that, what? Yuck. I don't want to eat that. I can hear it through the internet. So, those are your two options to feed your probiotic. If you don't want that option, which I think most of us probably may not be our favorite thing, is you can take doTERRA fiber. I love this, and you can see the doTERRA fiber comes from lots of different uh, fruits and vegetables. These are natural fibers that exist. Okay. And it's really important that you take this with your probiotic. So instead of the glass of wine, instead of grabbing those chips, certainly before you eat that piece of bread that's on the table, first thing you're going to do is, again, take your Restore, then a fiber. I recommend this because I think it's super easy. Now, I will say I have a hard time closing these bags, so I do sort of what I call the triangle fold, and then I put a rubber band around it. And it's super easy to store that way. And it's a little bit faster for me. Otherwise, the powder is in the little zip top. And anyway, it might be frustrating. So now I want you to imagine you have planted a garden inside your gut. You have that probiotic and you have given it fertilizer, you've given it the fiber. One other thing I would want to emphasize is you want to drink at least a tall glass, maybe 12 ounces of water with this whole process. So sometimes I like to take a half a glass of water and I'll swallow my Restore. And then I use the rest of the water to make my fiber, or I may make another full 12 ounces with the fiber. Couple of good things about this. If you are on a track to lose weight, this is going to make you feel kind of full right off the bat. So you're not going to go into your meal ravenous, right? That's one of the reasons why we eat the wrong things. We tend to go toward carbs and sugars. It's another reason why we overeat because we tend to, feel so famished that we eat too quickly. It's going to slow everything down and give yourself a really nice eating pace. You may find that after you take your fiber and your probiotic that you're actually eating half of what you used to, which is wonderful. Most of us overeat. We eat a lot more food than we need. So I really think that's great. The next thing that I would take is your MetaPower. Now, the reason I take MetaPower Assist is to manage those insulin spikes. You really don't want your insulin to spike and crash and spike and crash and spike and crash. That's when you get like that burst of energy and then you get that crash, really, really tired, brain fog. You're not feeling well, you're kind of crabby, and you usually go to the bad foods, right? We go to high caffeinated, high sugar, we go to high carb, we go to high salt. Those are the things that are actually going to work against our health. And so much better to do it in this order. Again, I'm going to keep repeating this so that you get it. Ready? Restore first, fiber second, and then MetaPower Assist third. This trifecta is going to be so good for you, so easy to do, so fast, so simple. And remember, hydrate, 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 lots and lots of water, as without being crazy, like 12 ounces of water through this process. So use that as what you're going to take while you're prepping your meal. Now, for those of you who like to cook, this is going to be a nice long process. For those of you who are grab and go, you still have enough time to get that food, that probiotic, the fiber, and the MetaPower into your system. And then you can get your grab and go food and go ahead and eat it. Now, can you out supplement a bad diet? You cannot. So, what I'm not suggesting is that if you do the Restore, the fiber, and the MetaPower, that you could turn around and actually make some bad food choices and end up in an amazing position of health. But you will be so much better off by doing these three steps before you eat anything. No judgment at all to your diet. If you're starting to eat something that has more fiber in it, it's going to be even better, right? So if you go kind of with a salad, an avocado, um, if you go with root vegetables to start, those kinds of things are going to be amazing for you. If you eat a high protein diet, that's going to be really good for you. If you get some really good healthy fats in there, that's going to be good for you. I had the most delicious lunch. Big shout out to Ilili, a Lebanese restaurant in Washington, D.C. They did a fabulous job. I have to just give a shout out to them. And one of the things that came at the beginning of the meal was this beautiful tabbouleh, which is like chopped up parsley and it has lemon juice in it and tomatoes and a little bit of bulgur. I mean, so easy. Anyone could do this. That's a perfect thing to start a meal with. We also had a really good feta, so healthy fat. And we also had hummus that literally had a pool of olive oil in the center and bright green. You knew it was healthy. Those good fats. That's going to be a great way for your body to take in the nutrients that it needs. So much better than, chicken nuggets and french fries, right? Or macaroni and cheese. These like typical, what I'm going to say, like nutrient deficient, uh, really popular food choices that we want to kind of get away from. We want lots of color, lots of polyphenols, lots of variety, lots of fresh foods, lots of foods that come from the earth, and then like really, really good high quality meats, proteins, if you can eat those. And if you're a vegetarian, again, the beans, the legumes, the things that are going to be protein sources for you. Make sure you're getting a really clean and good source. Now, when we're rebuilding our microbiome, it's going to start to get excited. And when it gets excited, it's going to start to do things like create gas and chemical reactions, and it's just going to be alive, right? Just super super duper alive. And so there might be a discomfort on your end. And what happens to people is they get discouraged and they're like, oh, this product doesn't work for me. No, that's not true. What's happening is it is working. It's just uncomfortable. And we're going to try to mitigate some of the issues. We're going to already come out with the solutions before you go into this, just in case this happens to be your experience. All right. So let's talk about some of the negative side effects that can come from growing a good, healthy microbiome. We know the positive benefits that come from a healthy microbiome are going to be more energy, better sleep, better vision, increased hair growth, clearer skin, brighter skin. You're going to get better immune system. You're going to have better digestion. You're going to have better brain focus function. You're going to be calmer. It's going to help with raising your mood. It's going to help you feel positive. So, all those things are really good. And that comes from rebuilding your microbiome. The process, however, can have some ups and downs, a little turbulence, as I like to call it. So, what does the turbulence look like? For some people, it may look like constipation, which doesn't make sense because you're thinking, I'm putting all this bacteria in my gut, I'm putting all this fiber in my gut. Shouldn't I be in the bathroom, all the time? And for some of you, you might find that it is promoting good digestion and you are in the bathroom more often than not. For some of you, it might be the first time you actually are eliminating 3 times a day. When we know that our digestive system is working really well, we should eat a meal and within an hour actually have a bowel movement. If that's not the way your body works, then that's what we're trying to reach, right? We're trying to get to the point where that's sort of a natural progression, that's a natural digestive process. And we see this in the animal world, right? Like if you see, I don't know, horses and they're feeding, you'll see that, as they walk through the town or walk through the countryside, they're going to start dropping, leaving things behind. And that's the way your body was designed to work as well. So for constipation, my number one go to is actually bone nutrients. Start with one, work up to four. I do recommend 4 a day. Now, for some people, this isn't a supplement that they're used to taking. It may not be a supplement that you want to take all the time. This is just going to eliminate some of the constipation issues that you may encounter while rebuilding your microbiome. And let's also talk about the time frame. I want you to understand that you have to give yourself at least 90 days before your body starts, and I'm saying starts, not is done with, but starts to adjust to its new developing microbiome. So this could be a long process. This could be a year. For some of you, this could be 2 or 3 years. It takes 3 years for your body to completely rebuild. How do I know how long it's going to take for me? You might be asking yourself. It will depend on where you're starting from and how old you are and how quickly your body starts to embrace this new microbiome. So there's no set amount of time, but it is long and it is going to be at least 3 months. So make sure that you understand that you're in this for the long run and that this is going to be an ongoing process. All right. So constipation, we're going to take 1 to 4 of these until you find that 12 hours later, at least you have a bowel movement. All right. So let's say, for example, I didn't have a bowel movement yesterday and I need to have one. So I'm still doing all this. I'm still taking my fiber. I'm still taking my restore. I'm still taking my MetaPower, right? So that hasn't changed. This is going to stay the same. But to alleviate the constipation, you're going to start with one of these. And if 12 hours you don't have a bowel movement, take 2 more. And then if in 12 hours you don't have a bowel movement, take 3 more. And if 12 hours you don't have no bowel movement, you should by then, you can take 4. All right. So whatever works for your system, that's the antidote for constipation. The antidote for digestive discomfort, right? If your tummy starts to kind of turn over and you're just feeling a little uncomfortable, my recommendation is to take ginger oil. So I have ginger oil here. I like to use it one of 2 ways. I would take a couple of drops under my tongue or take a couple of drops and apply it to my abdomen until I start to feel that discomfort go away. So I apply it every 10 minutes or take a drop every 10 minutes until I'm like, okay, things are feeling normal again. Things are feeling, fine. I'm okay with that. All right. So we talked about constipation. We talked about digestive discomfort, upset stomach, a little bit of nausea, something like that. Now, what happens if you have a lot of gas and bloating, which is very, very common when building the microbiome? All right. This is the unfortunate part of it. And you're going to say, well, I'm not going to do this because I have to go to work and I have to do this and I have to do that. I understand where you're coming from, but your health is number one. And the truth is that as this blooms, as your microbiome grows and you start to adjust, you may have some gas and bloating, but we have something for that too. We have Terrazyme. So enzymes are going to be your best friend when it comes to gas and bloating. You can also add the ginger. These two together would be really, really good, or even doTERRA's Digest Zen. I'm going to pull that out. I have that over here. Deep Blue, DVR, Digest Zen. There we go. Okay, so Digest Zen, same thing. This also comes in soft gels, capsules. That would be a good solution as well. But Terrazyme. So if you're nervous, you can take Terrazyme when you finish your meal. Okay, so we're going to bookend what we're going to do. We're going to take Restore, right? Let's see this little test for you as we wrap up today. And fiber. And then thirdly, we're going to take MetaPower. And then we're going to eat a yummy meal, right? As healthy as possible. And then at the end of the meal, we're going to take Terrazyme so that we don't have the gas and bloating issues. If you're concerned about that, or if you're experiencing that, get your Terrazyme. Every time your stomach feels gassy, take the Terrazyme. You can take this throughout the day. You may be taking a lot of Terrazyme until your body starts to adjust. So those are the types of things you want to order and stock up on as you are rebuilding your microbiome and putting yourself into the most healthy position you possibly can for 2024. We're going to be back next week with another episode. First and foremost, I hope this information has been helpful. Secondly, I hope there's one little nugget that you can take with you and share with another person. And thirdly, I wish you the most wonderful week ahead, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me.